Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. It is a beautiful morning, February 15th, 2023. And we get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings at this time, 8 o'clock Central, talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and support each of you. Over the past week or so, we have spent time rolling out the new credit and funding program. Have had a really good response. Enrollments have been strong, but I've had a few of you, our distribution partners, come back and say, okay, great, I've got my landing page. I like the proposition, but I need clients. And so that's what we're going to do is talk about clients, or specifically leads, today. So the key to earning a large income is we need to start with knowing our target market. If we're of the right mindset and we know who we're looking primarily to help, not meaning that we're being discriminatory and refusing to help other people, but we need to know who our target market is, then we can be effective in reaching out to them, because our target market is hungry for this resource. So if you just get in front of our target market, you're going to have conversions. Conversions are going to generate income. So let's do a bit of background before we jump in, just to make sure we're all on the same page. So the recently launched Credit and Funding Program is an innovative resource for who? For who? People. Doesn't have to be small business owners, but for people seeking funding, but who lack the credibility to get approved. That's an important sentence. Let's talk about it more. So the Credit and Funding Program, of course, is the title of the program. So that's the what. And we're looking for, of course, people, but not a certain subgroup of people is the point. Doesn't have to be small business owners. That what? They want funding. These are people that want funding. Well, why do they want funding versus have funding or have adequate funding? Because they what? They lack the credibility to get approved. Well, what does that mean, Tom? Well, let's go down to the red paragraph here that's centered. The Credit and Funding Program provides the funding. We guarantee in writing, minimum of $100,000, and all caps, we position the client to qualify by helping them improve their 3 C's. We've talked about this many times, right? What are the 3 C's that impact access to capital? Credit, collateral, capacity. Capacity is also known as cash flow. This is what typically prevents people from being able to get funding. They don't have the credibility. It's not that they're not good people. It's not that they don't want money. It's not that they don't need money. But if you're not credible on paper, you don't get approved. Now, there's different sources of capital and the requirements vary. I understand that. So part of this, of course, is figuring out, based upon the client's circumstances, where should the money come from? And we understand that. But beyond that, at some point, we're going to have to meet the credibility requirements of the selected type of funding based upon the 3 C's. Now, is it true that some sources of capital do not look at all 3 C's? That is true. That's true. It would be best to have all strength in all 3 C's, but we must have at least one. Otherwise, we will not be able to borrow money. Now, we might still be able to go to the capital market and get investors because they're looking at sharing of future profits. But as far as our bread and butter of helping people get at least $100,000 of funding, we're going to need at least one of these 3 C's. So who is our target market? We are looking for people that are looking for funding, but they have barriers that's keeping them from getting funding. Because again, if they didn't have any barriers, they wouldn't be talking to you and I about wanting funding. They would have the funding. They'd just be out spending money, right? So the people that don't have a barrier probably aren't talking to you and I. It's the people that have barriers. Fortunate for us, most people fall into this category. Now, I'm not somehow saying, oh, I'm glad a lot of people aren't credible, but it's a great opportunity for you and I to help a lot of people, because there's a whole lot of people that want funding for whatever purpose, whether it be business related or not, but they don't qualify. That's where you and I step in, is helping the people that don't qualify. This is almost polar opposite of the way most of the business financing world works. Most of the business financing world spends their time vetting or pre-qualifying, looking for the most qualified people, and they discard everyone else. Well, you and I are there to help everyone that they're discarding. See the dramatic difference in approach? Because what we do is we help them become credible enough so they do get approved. Now, the second bullet's really important. It's a bit of an advanced topic, so hear me out. And if you have any feedback, feel free to put it in the Q&A of Zoom. So we've identified the 3 C's at nauseum, but again today. And so they might have a barrier in any of those 3 C's. And until we gather data, we don't know. But the point is, most of them are aware of their credit issues, because a lot of people aren't as financially literate or as financial savvy as you are. And so you're able to step back, objectively look at the client's profile and understand what we're dealing with. But the average individual doesn't have that objectivity. They don't have the education and experience that you likely have. So the point here on the second bullet is most people think, oh, my credit's shitty, so I can't get funding. And that may be the fact. And so we can help them with that. That's built in to the credit and funding program. They don't have to pay anything to get help building their personal and or business credit. On the personal side, we have the credit suite to address negative. We have the credit boost to add positive. On the business credit side, we can add trade lines as well. So what am I trying to convey here at the risk of confusing some of us? A lot of people will have multiple credibility issues, but they may not be aware of it. The one they're most likely aware of is, oh, my credit's kind of shitty. That's the barrier. Well, that's fine. We can help them with that. So I'll leave it at that. I'm just clarifying, reiterating. So you and I, through the credit and funding program, help people with all 3 of the C's in credibility building. But when you're thinking about your target market, you're actually wanting to look for individuals that are looking for funding. They're not getting funding, and probably the reason they perceive they're not getting funding is credit issues. The truth may be that it's not that, or it's only partially that, but we must connect with our target market with where their mindset is, and credit is a topic. Now, there's lots and lots of different credit resources, both on the personal and business side. Earlier in my career, I was the affiliate manager of a bank that had a credit building credit card. This was years ago, and that business not even in business anymore. But what I'm trying to convey to you is I had the opportunity in that role to work with, at that time, just about every, and this is not exaggeration, just about every credit repair company in the nation was my client, or I guess you could even say my customer, however you want to spin it. They had a contract with us for our credit building loan. And in some cases, I would travel. And so some of the largest credit repair companies, I would travel to their location and I would sit down in the CEO's office. I mean, that's not impressive. My point is, there's lots of credit resources, but what you and I do are different, right? Because the credit and funding program is not only looking at credit, but we're looking at the fundability of the client overall, guaranteeing to improve their fundability enough to get them at least $100,000. So why am I bringing this point up? Lots of people have bad credit. There's lots of credit repair companies. We are not a credit repair company. We do help address credit as well as the other 3 C's in an innovative way that I believe no one else does. Why is that important? That's called a blue ocean instead of a red ocean. I was asked to apply for a job at the University of Texas to run their entrepreneurial center. And so I interviewed with the president of the University of Texas. And so he brought up this concept that I'll share with you called the blue ocean, red ocean. And so his vision was to focus on the blue ocean, not the red ocean. So let's apply that to what you and I are talking about. The credit repair industry is a red ocean. There's lots of sharks. There's lots of blood in the water. The water is blood because it's hyper competitive. And so we choose to not go swimming in that water. We're not in the red water. We're in the blue ocean. The blue ocean is calm because it's just you and I there. There's no one else helping clients in the way that you and I help them, which is addressing all of their credibility factors and helping them get at least 100,000. That's a great place to be. We're in the blue ocean. Okay, so furthermore, we're talking about our target market. It's important to know what does not matter. What does not matter. So when you and I are thinking about clients that we would like to help, we do not care about their race. We do not care about their age. We do not care where they live or work. So again, you've got to step back. Possibly you need to step back and get away from pre-qualifying. That's what most business development professional salespeople have learned to do. Pre-qualify so you only get the best prospects in. Well, our best prospects are not filtered in the way that you're probably most presumably thinking about. We don't care about their race. We don't care about their age. We don't care about their location. We don't care about how much money they make. We don't care about their credit worthiness. And in fact, we love people that are not credit worthy because that's a common barrier that you and I can help them with. And if they are a business owner, we do not care how long they've been in business or even if they've not formed the business yet. We don't care how they want to use the funds. They can go hire strippers if they want. It doesn't matter to us. We don't care about their industry. So it's important to understand what does not matter when we're thinking about our target market. Because if we approach our target market effectively, we will help a lot of clients and you'll make a lot of money. Okay, so let's scroll on down here. So who are our best prospects? So we're looking for individuals and or business owners. Let me highlight all that. So it's fine if it's someone that owns a business. It's fine if someone that wants to start a business, but it doesn't matter. That's not a prerequisite. So we're looking for individuals and or business owners. They're seeking funding, but they have bad credit. And they'll know that because they've probably been declined before, or when they get approved for small amounts. They know who they are. Now, what we said earlier is that a little deeper introspective, they may in fact have issues with collateral. Fine, we take care of that at no cost. They may have capacity issues. That's fine, we'll take care of that at no cost. But in their mind, probably credit is what's preventing them from getting funding. Therefore, you are looking for a group of people that is an underserved population, not underserved because of race or gender or any of that, but underserved because other funding sources typically do not want to help with these prospects. Warren's on the line here, and Warren and I talked yesterday afternoon most recently. He has a large number of leads that he acquired from another lending source that were their turn downs. Those are probably the most valuable leads you could ever have. Someone that went for some type of funding, whatever it might have been, and they got turned down because they didn't qualify. Well, why would someone get turned down? Probably because of one or more of these 3 C's. So Warren is smart. He's figured this out. He's reaching out to key influencers that have large lists of turn downs, and he's working out some sort of deal with them to get those lists. So now he's running those lists through what? The credit and funding program. All right, so how do we go about finding these prospects? Because hopefully we're all on the same page now. We understand it's crucial to know who our target market is. We've revisited what the credit and funding program's value proposition is. We've clarified that we're in a blue ocean. What you and I do is different. It's good, it's credible, it's valuable, but other people aren't doing this. And we probably need to connect with people on their credit issues because that's probably what they're most aware of, even though they may have other credibility issues that will help them. And that's included at no cost in the credit and funding program. So how do we find them? Some of you are very skilled, but most of us are not in going out and generating your own leads. So if that's a gift of yours, a skill set of yours, then do that. You can go create advertisements or do whatever type of outreach or marketing you want, post on Craigslist or whatever you want. So that's option one. You could certainly do that. But it's my belief that most of our distribution partners are really not skilled in that area. And so you could try it, but it usually doesn't work. So you probably already know from your life experiences if you're good at lead generation. And if you are, obviously create your own leads. But I think we want to be honest with ourselves. If we're really not good at that, I wouldn't put all my eggs in that basket. Maybe you want to try some of that, but I would diversify my lead development techniques if I were you. So thus, let's go ahead and look at some other options. There are places you can get free leads. We've talked about in past trainings. It used to be called Sales Genie, then it was called Reference USA. Now it's called Data Axle. You can get a temporary subscription to that database, or you can go through your library and I guess get a permanent free subscription to that database. But it's a list of pretty much every business, and you can sort and filter a million different ways. And so there are places to get free leads. Now, when you go to a general database like that, you'll certainly come up with the people to contact, but they're not warm leads. They've not expressed an interest in getting funding or resolving their credit. Now, you can find out if they would probably need this. You can filter them by income or credit or other factors. But just a leads list, unless you really have that telemarketing mindset where you're willing to just burn up the phone hour after hour after hour of what I wouldn't call cold leads, just really a list, that's probably not going to get you too far. A step better than that are the groups over at Synergy Direct Solution. We have no financial involvement with them. A number of you have worked with them, and they'll give you free leads, absolutely free leads. Now, these leads are small business owners that's specifically looking for funding, and those free leads will tell you what their credit is, because again, the less credible they are, the more they need us, and also the less likely they're going to be able to get funding on their own. So I've seen these leads through Synergy Direct. They're golden. And you can buy leads from them, granted, but they also have a program, which I'm not pitching for them. We're just going through options that will give you free leads. Now, the catch is if you want free leads, then you're using their virtual assistant to call those leads for you. That's not a bad trade-off, right? So they have someone that's motivated to sit at the freaking phone, make call after call after call after call, get hung up on, be told no a million times, but they'll get a good number of people that say yes, that will provide a full data set, and that data set comes to you. In my mind, that's golden, because you've outsourced the labor of the outreach, and you've gotten the leads free, and the data set you have are what I would consider not just warm leads, but hot leads. So couple ways that you can get free leads, as we've talked about with Data Axle and Synergy Direct. Let's move on to talk about other options. You can just simply outsource lead generation. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but if not, you could look up Upwork or Fiverr, and both of them are websites full of gig workers. And I plan on doing a shared screen with you, but I think it's too much. You're very competent. You can look up Upwork or Fiverr. You can create a free profile. You can look up business loan leads or credit repair leads, and you can see all these very talented people and what they charge, which a lot of them is not very much, to go generate leads for you. So there's what's commonly called in business the buy or build. So here you're building your own lead source. here or here, you're essentially buying it. So these are different options. You could do more what Warren did, we mentioned a moment ago. He has gone out to people that are in the financial lending space, and he's getting their turn downs. That's golden. So that could come from bankers, lenders, loan brokers, MCA agents, if I can pronounce that correctly. And they likely have credit turn downs that they could refer to you. You could figure out, do you want to buy those lists from them or just do a revenue share? That's between you and them. But this is certainly a very valuable one if you're inclined to pursue that. And then another option would be just good old-fashioned networking. Networking looked a lot different before COVID, but there's business organizations you could join, chambers of commerce, networking groups like BNI to get plugged into other people that probably know those that would be part of your target audience. So those are some examples of how you can go about finding prospects, not an all-inclusive list. So what do you do with the prospects once you have one? Well, it's super simple, and that's why it's highlighted here. All you need to do is refer them to your landing page. We provide each of our affiliates a free landing page. You get a link, and you give that link to someone, and they go to your page, and has a little informational video, has a description, has the ability for them to put in their name, email, and phone number. They hit submit, takes them to the next page, and with the next page, then they get the terms and conditions so they can sign up. So if you're a white label partner, you're getting them under contract yourself. If you're an affiliate, you're just sending them to your landing page. But in either case, what we need to do is get them under contract. So for each client who enrolls, you're getting paid twice, regardless if you're a white label partner or an affiliate. You get the upfront portion, so you're paid right away when they sign up, plus you're getting points, not 2 points, but points off the capital raise. If you're an affiliate, you make 3 points off the capital raise. As a white label partner, you choose, but most of the white label partners are setting it at 10 to 12% performance fee. So white label partners choose their own price structure. But the bottom line is, in either case, it's not a bad side gig, right? If you don't have a landing page, go to the partner page, get set up, and the system should generate one for you. Or of course, you can email us if you've forgotten what it is, and we can look it up and give it to you. So what questions, comments, concerns do any of you have on our conversation today? We start with the concept of it's important to know your target market. We reiterated who we are and what we're doing and why it's different. We emphasize that we don't need to filter off of traditional pre-qualification criteria. We clearly identified who we're looking for. We're looking for individuals and/or business owners who's seeking funding for whatever purpose, but have bad credit. Maybe they want to buy a house, buy a car, get a business loan, get an educational loan. Doesn't matter why they want the money, right? Because we're not filtering off of use of funds. We've talked about different ways to find these prospects. And then we just wanted to make sure, we felt like it'd be remiss to wrap up and not clarify, well, what do you do once you have a prospect? Well, we need to get them under contract. How do you do that? If you're a white label partner, you send them your contract and they sign it. If you're an affiliate, you just simply refer them to your landing page. So who has questions, comments, concerns off of this? All right, Timothy's asking, we can always count on Timothy. Timothy's asking about Jeff. And so Jeff Sokol was one of our distribution partners. And what he had done, he wanted a system where he never talked to any of the prospects. So he purchased leads. He drove those leads to his landing page. Now, he spent a fair amount on buying leads, and you don't have to, but he did because he wanted to scale it up. And in one 30-day period, I think we've all heard this story before, but he ended up with over 800 leads to his landing page, the landing page that we provided him free. And so then we had over 400 enrollments in that 30-day period, and it was about a 53 to 54% conversion ratio. So I mean, it works. It works. Now, you may have a better way than the Jeff model. Jeff's model, again, was not high touch. He didn't communicate with them. He just allowed the landing page and the follow-up. Some of you prefer to talk to your prospects, and that's fine. And I'll say this very respectfully, though, some of you probably would be better off not talking to your prospects. Maybe it's a lack of experience or confidence or availability, whatever niceties you want to add there. But if you're really not good on the phone, I would follow a system where you're not spending time on the phone with leads. Some of you are very, very good, like Alfred, on the phone, and so it makes sense for him to talk to the prospects. So thank you, Timothy, for bringing that up. All right, Susan has a question, and it's a good one. I didn't plan on discussing it today, but we will. So let's say that you follow this model and you're driving people in and they sign up, but let's say that they don't have the setup fee, because what you and I know, there's a setup fee for the credit and funding program. It's refundable, but there's a setup fee. That's fine. If they enroll and they don't have the setup fee, then we can help them look for financing to cover that. So they would go ahead and get under contract, and then we'll get an app from them, and we'll go ahead and help them find funding for that. So that's fine. I mean, in general, people will pay the setup fee. If you're a white label partner, you select the price. As an affiliate, they're coming in at the normal $999.99 setup fee, whereby they're enrolled in the credit and funding program. They get the free credit resource, free collateral, free capacity. It's a great deal. But you're right, Susan. If you have someone that comes in, they want to participate, they don't have the setup fee, we will go ahead and work with them and help them get the setup fee. So that is fine. All right, who else has questions, comments, concerns on what we've covered? Alex has an interesting question. Alex is asking, I hadn't really thought about this before. Alex is asking if we could set up a system, and this is worth considering. I'll ask each of your feedback. What if we set up a system where, let's say you had a prospect, but the prospect wasn't willing to sign up until they had, let's call it a consultation. What if we set up a system where our team would do a consultation with any of your prospects that haven't signed up yet to help close them? That's essentially what Alex is asking, and that's an interesting idea. We'll chew on that and maybe revisit that on tomorrow's training or on Monday's training. But at this point, what questions do any of you have regarding knowing your target market? Because I think if your assumption is no one wants this, you're dead wrong. There's respectfully, there's lots and lots of people that want funding, but they lack the credibility to get approved. Because then again, if they want funding and they have the credibility, they probably don't need to talk to you and I, because you and I are not the lenders, right? We're the technical advisors. So with that being said, there's no shortage of these individuals. How do we reach them? We need to create a flow, a funnel of prospects. And that's why we spent time talking about some of these different options. And you may have other ideas, but that's really what you bring to the table, right? We're not asking you to perform other services. Your role in exchange for making, what, $3,000 or more net profit per client is go spread the word and drive people into your landing page. So you either need to be good at that, get good at that, or work with people that are good at that, because that's how the money is made. If we're not helping people, then there's no money exchanging hands. Anyone else have questions, comments, concerns on the importance of the target market? What doesn't matter? Identification of our best prospects, some areas or ways that you can find those prospects, and what you do with them. Jerry brings up a good point. We'll close on this. And I'd agree with Jerry. A lot of times when you bring in a client, if you ask for referrals from that client, they'll refer you to other people. Because with the credit and funding program, as we talked about the implementation process yesterday, I believe it was, we're focused on implementing them and showing them value immediately. And we're helping them become credible enough by addressing their credit, their collateral, and their capacity. And so when you do that, you're absolutely right, Jerry. You can get a good number of referrals from every client. So I don't disagree with that. Harry asked about teaching, and you're right. We've talked a lot about before teaching workshops or online, workshops in person or online, churches, chambers, Zoom-based, whatever. And so that could have been another bullet here to go out and teach about what does it take to get funding. And maybe that's a revised presentation that we could put together. What does it take to get funding? What does it take to get $100,000 of funding? Because it's not a mystery. What you and I know, frankly, most people don't understand. You have to be credible. You have to be credible regarding the 3 C's. And it just so happens that you and I have a program that will help them with these 3 C's at no cost, and we guarantee them the capital raise. So you're right. Certainly educating, which I think we're implicitly always doing anyway, but you could go out and conduct workshops in person or online to small groups or large groups, and certainly fill your funnel that way as well. All right. Well, thanks, everyone. We'll be back tomorrow morning. Appreciate your time. Let us know if you have any constructive criticism. Have a good day. Bye.